I don't believe for a minute that it was the intention of the General Assembly to create a license to discriminate or a right to deny services to gays, lesbians, or anyone else in this state. And it certainly wasn't my intent.
Indiana Governor Mike Pence, we're replaying there what you and I watched live here on America's Forum yesterday when the governor called for clarification of the Religious Freedom Restoration Act following a huge backlash nationally. This is something that bears further discussion. And rejoining me now for more on this developing story, my good friend Republican strategist Ford O'Connell at Newsmax Washington. Earlier today, Ford, we were talking about this with pollster John Zogby, and it brought to mind the old maxim, if you're explaining, you're losing in politics. Governor Pence said it was perceptions that were incorrect. What's the bottom line from your perspective on this legislation?
Well, I think the backlash has been over the top, and it's a perfect storm of basically unfounded hysteria coupled with legal ignorance, turbocharged basically, by the left's social intolerance. Unfortunately, the problem here is that John Zogby is absolutely right. Perception is reality in politics, but I think there is a quick fix to the Indiana law, and the backlash will go away. Unfortunately, I cannot say the same about the law that's up now in Arkansas.
Yeah, and we have Arkansas passing that yesterday, the same day that, of course, Indiana Governor Pence came forward with that call for clarification for his state's bill. And as has been reported with the Arkansas legislation, you have the head of Walmart, not exactly a small business internationally and based there in Arkansas, asking the governor not to sign the law. Why are Walmart and other corporations inserting themselves into this debate, Ford?
Well, there's two principles at play here. One is the fact that the state cannot substantially burden a person's free exercise of religion under the First Amendment unless there is a compelling government interest. That's point one. Point two is that when you are open to the public, you are open to everyone. That's a 1964 civil rights law when it comes to public accommodations. And basically, Walmart is concerned about perception and commerce, and they're afraid it's going to hurt their bottom line in other communities, not just in Bentonville, Arkansas.
And not just in Arkansas, not just in Indiana, but we've seen other places not exactly conservative. For example, Washington State. That's where a lady by the name of Baronelle Stutzman lives. She's a florist who's been involved in a very intense legal battle because she was asked to provide flowers for a gay couple's wedding, and she respectfully refused. Let's listen to what Baronelle had to say and then get your thoughts on that.
They're telling me that I have to accept what they're saying, or I'm going to lose my business, I'm going to lose our personal assets, our retirement. They're trying to make me an example, and they're trying to bully me to coerce me into saying that I will do same-sex marriages, which is totally against my relationship with Christ.
And with a free market, my goodness, it seems to me there'd be a lot of florists out there looking for business. Doesn't she have the right to refuse?
Well, she has the right to refuse, and they're certainly going to make her an example. But let's understand what these religious freedom acts do. They give her a path to go to court and a test for the court to determine whether or not she has a compelling First Amendment argument. The thing, though, is in Washington State, sexual orientation and gender identity are a protected class. So chances are, unless she can come up with something like the Quakers, who are conscientious objectors when it comes to war, she's likely to lose. Let's understand what's really going on right here. The gay rights lobby won the same-sex marriage battle. Now they are spiking the football, and eventually they are not happy. They're not going to stop until basically we've ripped away tax-exempt status from religious organizations, and eventually churches are going to be forced by the government, if they want to keep their tax status, to wind up marrying gay couples. Now, that's going to be a real question, because what we've got here is basically the Constitution on two sides, the First Amendment, and what we concern with the Civil Rights Act and public accommodations. JD, I don't know where this is going, but given the fact that gay rights are moving so forward so fast, I think that religious folks are really in trouble.
Well, there has often been a case when these kind of developments come, no matter the factions or the interest involved, one side or the other overplays their hand. And so, despite the sympathy of the cultural left and the leftist-dominated popular media, is there a danger the gay community will overplay its hand in this debate? 30 seconds.
Well, I think they've already overplayed their hand, and this indignation that they have is absolutely ridiculous, particularly in today's day and age. But here's where I disagree with you, JD. I look at millennials today, and they look at gay marriage, homosexuality is something that is just as clear as the air. And because they see that, and I find that because of a family breakdown and a lack of marriage and a lack of religion in family life, but that is actually where the future is going. So unless the religious organizations reclaim the family, guess what? They're going to continue falling like dominoes.
Well, let me reclaim the time here, as we used to say on the floor of the House, only to say we're going to step aside, come back and talk more about this right after this timeout.